I just want to say how much I enjoy this series so far. There's just so much going on. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know a lot of the stars, and so getting to dive into it was like really like reading a book that you just picked up at the airport or something, and just like, okay, meeting these characters, and every turn of the page, something different is revealed, and suddenly like, wait, what I thought I knew is not. So, my first question is for Marlon though. What This is your first television series. What made you decide to make that leap from books to and novels to the television screen?
Um, well, for one, I'm always looking for new challenges as a writer. I also, for me, even though I write mostly fiction, I'm hugely inspired by motion pictures. I'm hugely inspired by film and TV. I can probably talk for a couple minutes about a novelist. I can talk for 2 hours about, Kurosawa. And there's a lot about that language that I've always used. Anyway. I'm also a Gen X TV nerd. Like a lot of people in my generation, you're pretty much raised by TV. Sesame Street was my nanny, honestly. So I've always been drawn to the medium. As to why that point to start writing for it, I'm not really sure. I just think a lot of things came together, including people working in TV trying to get me to write for them. And at the time, this character, this Millie, also just showed up. And for me, sometimes the hardest thing to figure out when I have characters, for me, characters show up first and then I try to figure out what the hell their story is. And for Millie, realizing that her story would have been something that's visual, something that's, on TV or so on, was something really, really new for me. But I also realized that there are aspects of the story that I thought I wanted to be like carried by dialogue and carried by things we could actually see as opposed to reading a book. And it also just felt like a new frontier for me.
And how about you, Jamie and Simon? Why did you want to work on this project?
Um, well, I came onto the project late, actually. I came onto the project during the post process, so these guys had already shot the show. And I had the pleasure of encountering it first as a viewer, and I immediately responded to Marlon's voice, which I just think is crackling with energy and is constantly surprising and really irreverent at times, and also like it's just, I think it's pretty singular and incredible. I thought the cast was spectacular. I thought, China McQueen, this is her first role. She was amazing. And Charnette, who plays Janet, I thought was astonishing, as well as the more experienced cast, Tamara and Joe and Gershwin. I just thought they were all incredible. And then I had never been to Jamaica prior to working on this show. I had never seen Jamaica like this on TV before. And so the whole thing just felt like really special. And I tell people when I describe it to my friends, it's like somebody took like a handful of diamonds and like tossed it into this these 5 episodes. And when I came on, I think our task really was trying to focus in on those diamonds, and kind of clear the way for them so that they could really shine.
Yeah, for me, it was definitely the opportunity to work with Marlon. Just as a absolutely singular talent on the global stage, and the show. There's so much about it which is completely exceptional, which Jamie's touched on, but just the ability to be dropped into a world that we think we know, and we very, very quickly realize we don't know anything. We have all of our preconceptions completely exploded and smashed to smithereens straight away. And then just the strength of the characterization, the intricacy with which characters are drawn, and they're drawn with such kind of loving care that actually their flaws are just kind of writ large, to the degree that actually you could argue it's one of Millie's flaws, which is this completely obsessive streak that she's just gonna she's blinkered to everything other than trying to save the child. That carries us through the story, and that's just, you know, it's exceptional characterization, and characterization that can allow us to understand the world anew and come away kind of invigorated and enlightened. That's very, very rare in a TV show, and this show has all of those qualities.
I love how the voiceover puts you in the characters' heads, and it's very cryptic, but yet very revealing. And some of it you don't really understand what it means until an episode or two later. Can you tell me about the decision to approach the story like that and to put us in those characters' heads?
That was one of the original ideas. One, because it ties it to classic noir. You know, you're watching one of those old detective shows. There, you know, the person is like, you know, it was a dark and stormy night when she walked in, kind of thing. And it's one of the sort of foundational aspects of a crime story. But I wanted, how can you sort of subvert it, keep sort of pay tribute to it, but subvert it? For one, a narration is just one person's opinion. What if over the course of 5 episodes you get 5 opinions on the same subject? What if the way in which it's almost as if every episode teaches you a new way of looking at Millie? There are people who have known her all her life, and then there are people who barely know her 24 hours. And so the portrait we get of her and the story that she's in constantly changes. And and to me that was interesting, because I think a lot of detective stories pride themselves on one voice, and they find that one person. And what happens when you subvert that, and you have to constantly shift your alliances as a viewer, your perspectives, when you like Millie, when you don't like Millie, changes depending. And to me, that made it certainly for me, a fresher and a more original way of looking at what is in a lot of ways a classic detective story.
I love that. Yeah, I'm really enjoying that aspect of it. And like I said, like a novel, with each chapter, there's something new revealed, and I'm excited to see where the remaining episodes take me, and how many times it surprises and enthralls and scares and everything else, because there's so much emotion in this. I wish we had a little more time to discuss it all, but thank you so much for your time today, and I look forward to seeing more of your work.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much.
Hey, real quick before we go, Marlon, it's Gen X Sesame Street. Do you know this one? Loaf of bread, container of milk.
Yes.
Stick up.
Fire.
Boom. All right. Excellent. Thank you. Hopefully we'll talk again. Have a good one.